Sonic is back. It's pronounced just like the beer next beer, but we spell a little bit strange sometimes. We use funny dots on A's and O's and whatever. Canada's a great country, great potential. Just for the information, this is Sweden, my country. We are there. That is your country.
You realize from about an inch from the border up, no one lives.
No, yeah. we have a little bit similar.
Yeah.
But we, for the most part, from Sweden, live south of here,
Yeah.
and we're not. And up there are those. What do you call them? But it is like this. You're a great nation and a huge potential. Please have the seats. Yep, you can sit over here. Then you can see it first.
Right on. Came late to class.
Yeah. Okay. Normally people say, "Oh, you went from Aspen," and they think about this place in Colorado, but it isn't. Aspen is a little tiny lake outside Gothenburg, the main capital city of Volvo, where we come from. And the first plant we had was at that lake. And then the name is Aspen, just like the tree. And the leaf is an aspen leaf. So it's not Aspen, sorry to say, all Americans. But it started with this guy. It was in the late 70s. Hi. I have a seat over here, especially for you.
Oh, for me?
Yes, what's your name on it, whatever it was. Name, I mean, sorry. And Volvo, when they exported cars to far cities, far countries, all over the world, and they had problems. The spark plugs was destroyed or damaged. And especially there was a model called 164. It's a straight 6-cylinder engine, and that was the powerful. So they said, "Shit, guys, we have a problem." So they put a couple of engineers together. They thought they had an engine problem. But this guy, Roland, he is a chemist engineer, and he worked for BP earlier, before he worked for Volvo. And he looked upon the problem from a different angle. He looked upon it on angle of fueling problem. And he looked in his books and find out that who had problems with fuel? Spitfires during the Second World War had a 12-cylinder Rolls-Royce engine, and they had to have a better fuel. And what was that? And he put fuel similar to that together. So Volvo then accepted that as a solution. But then again, he read in this paper, it says Skogen. If I translate it to English, it would be the forest. That's a magazine for guys that works in the forest. There were huge problems in the late 70s when people used this chainsaw. They cut themselves. They were polluted, more or less. So he took contact with Husqvarna and said, "Hey guys, maybe I can help you a little bit," because it was a question of banning chainsaws in Scandinavia due to the fact they were so dangerous. So he took contact with Husqvarna, and they started a co-op at that time. So he quit Volvo on the 8th of August in '88. He started Aspen. But so the main problem at that time for Volvo was to get less technical problems. That was the first point. And this is what we are today. Sorry, guys. We are a small little plant outside Gothenburg. Approximately we are 50 people working there. And we are now working in more than 20 countries. And we are the leading alcohol market brand in Europe. So this is where we are today. And nice to see here. This is a picture from earlier this year. Now we are twice the size we have built out there. So. That's not to talk about that I'm here. I'm here to talk about this. Strange question. What's the difference between gasoline? if I asked you, what is the difference between waters? What would you tell me then? What type of waters do you know? Hot, cold, salty, bubbly, non-bubbly. But what's the difference between petrol? Gasoline, sorry. Gasoline. What's the difference? Hey guys, you work with this.
Octane.
Octane. What is octane?
Ability to burn.
Sorry?
Fuel's ability to burn.
Okay.
Resistance to knock.
That's another answer I would stand behind. There are two types of them also, or three types actually. You have the RON, the MON, and what you use, the equal ones. You take RON and MON together and equals with 2, and then you have. So we in Europe we use only RON, research obtained. But that is what we will come into. So if people sometimes, the meaning of this course is that you tomorrow will do or think or say something that you didn't say yesterday. Okay? And this is not rocket science we will talk about today. I think I would like if you could explain to a guy when you're in an elevator for stores to give him a picture the difference between Aspen and normal petrol. Okay? That's the main purpose today. No harder than that. Okay? So let's start from the beginning. What is petrol coming from? It comes from crude oil. I must say I don't like it. Sorry. It is like this. Crude oil is out in the sea. I've been working with petrol now for 20 years. 10 years in Aspen and 10 years before in a company called Stado. We own a hell of a lot of crude oils out in the sea. But how many of you had high points in the University of Chemistry? Hands up. Good, because we won't go there. We will take it easier. But we will go a little bit close to it. Out of the crude oil, to make petrol, you use 3 main types of hydrocarbons. You use paraffins, that's the nice guys. You use aromatics. Aromatics, what can you think about that? Aromatics. Arome. That's the one that smells strongly. Okay? You can also call them solvents often. And then you have the olefins, the unstable guys. You see, these are simple ones, they are double. So they are like, when they go to a party, if you invite olefins to a party, imagine a guy with a green hat, blue shirt, and red trousers. And he's drunk when he comes to the party, and he loves everybody. And if he has other friends, he will connect with them, and they change his hands and trousers. And if they get a little bit time, they fall together in the corner and they ruin the party. It's the same with petrol. If you have a lot of olefins in the petrol, it will ruin the petrol. Okay? So there you have some explanation of the difference. But this is the main part where you use it. By the way, Aspen, we are here. Only made by that, more or less. But when you use this normal petrol, when they made studies from the guys that had standing over them, these were typical problems that they had. I think you can recognize a lot of them. Not a good place to be. So how should I then learn you the difference between Aspen and normal petrol in a common language? Think of it like this. If a cubic meter, you use the metric systems and I love it, a cubic meter of crude oil, if you think of that as an ox, and then I have a picture of a cow, sorry, Swedish. If you think of an ox as a cubic meter, that is what we had when I worked with that in the sea. We bring it up and into the land, to the refinery. We shoot it, and we would like to sell as much as we could of that ox. So what can we do? To sell the most part, we make minced meat of it. We crush it down. You can make hamburgers out of it. But in that process, the fine parts, one of them is the fillet. And inside this cubic meter, the fillet is alcohol. And you have it here. This is the refinery. Some parts in Swedish, other ones down there is. But if you think of out here, on that end, we bring it the ox in, we shoot it, and we ground it down. Here is the mixture. It says car gasoline, motorbensin in Swedish. This is what you use, what you go to the petrol station and buy. That's the mixture, a minced meat petrol. It has to be in, the recipe for it is stable, I mean, 200, approximately 200 hydrocarbons is inside there. But it varies from truckload to truckload, but it has to be in that. But in the process, when you crack down, you get a gas coming up called alkylate, and we use it as one of the cleanest gases. And together, this is alkylate that we use. That's the inner fillet. So guys, everything that's in a can like this, everything, you will find in normal petrol. There are a lot of things that you won't find from minced meat petrol in here. So if you stand in the shop and have a packet of minced meat in your hand and a fillet, it's the same thing. You will trace the fillet inside, but not the opposite. Okay? Great. And what we do then is that we go out to several refineries, buy our feeds, ship it up to Gothenburg, pick it up by truck into the warehouse, the factory, and we made it and we ship it out. And this is the way that most people recognize us. Okay, so far. Benefits for people then. Why do we do it? Well, okay, if you think about petrol, normally, oh sorry, you're not that fast. Like this. Well, here we are again. Normal petrol is not good for man, normally not good for machine, and normally not good for the environmental. The opposite down here is alcohol. I mean, this is not the holy water from Rome. Don't believe that. But it's the least, how should I say, the least shitty fuel that we can use from that technique that we have today. Of course, in the future, we will have a machine that will be driven by energy from the sun or whatever. But today, as long as we have diesel and auto that have made those drawings and make those machines that use gasoline, this is the one. But I think if I today had been woken up and said, I would like to take a new thing into the market, then I would call it petrol. The authorities should ban it. It's not good when you're taking it up, polluted everywhere, pollute people. Okay, then we have Donald Trump, and he would maybe say, okay, but all other guys would say, probably not. This is not something that we should have. I'm not that kind. Okay. Here it comes. Benefits for users. Virtually free from benzene, carcinogenic hydrocarbons. Actually, one of the things that is the problem, just, wait, oh, I do like this. And you're sitting all like this. We have to change the rules a little bit, okay? In Sweden, when I do like this, I would like you to say yes. Do you understand?
Yes.
Yes.
Great! Do you know that?
Yes.
You must be Norwegian. They are a little bit slower than Swedes, okay? We have them also in Sweden, so okay, welcome to the gang. No, actually. Benzene, everybody talks about benzene and benzene. Do you know why it's that dangerous? Actually, it was benzene that today is not, you don't use that dead skull anymore. You have something called explosive Swede, but benzene was the thing that scared the shit out of people, actually. Do you know why? Why benzene? Oh, okay. If I say, like, we talked about it yesterday, things that scares me is not the things that I see. I mean the wolf and the bear, I can see them. But things that I know there, but I can't see electricity in a or if I see radiation or whatever. It's the same with something comes out with the smoke from, I don't see which one. Oh, that's the one benzene thing. That it is like that, and you inhale it. And the problem with benzene is that's a copy of your DNA and my DNA. so it very easily goes out in your body and stays in your body. And I had some years as a nurse, and when we take samples of people that get blood cancer, leukemia, it happens now and then, quite often actually, that they peaked on benzene. Was not a good friend to have around you. Okay? So that's why benzene is that hazardous thing about it. So, virtually free from that actually. Low in aromatics, and aromatic, as I said, they saw people that was a little bit shaken, a little bit stupid. I thought they would come from Sweden, but they won't. They were painters. Have you seen them? Yes, you have seen them. And they say, what is the danger with that? That is the aromatics in color and painting. So they take away, I think they have it here in Canada too, it's water-based. You should not use aromatics around you. In 1 liter, now I'm not certain how you have here, but in Europe, and some of the things that I'm talking about is specific to Europe, but it's adaptable here probably. But in 1 liter of regular petrol in Sweden or Denmark or Germany or France, out of 1 liter is 3.5 deciliter is pure solvents. So, I mean, if you shouldn't stand over a can of paint, it's not that good to stand over a machine that pour out solvents, I think. So we're very low in that one. Low in BTEX, BTEX is benzene, toluene, ethyl benzene, and excellent. You're very easily to inhale them, and that is making the dizziness and headaches. And that I don't know if you heard about people that are misusing it and that they buy thinner and things, and that is the same up there, and we're very low in that one. And olefins. Less ozone formation. Ground level ozone, do you know what that is?
Yeah.
Yeah? Is that a nice thing to have around them? No. Actually not. You can say that since we don't have, olefin is one of the major components. When it comes out from the exhaust and together with sunshine, it creates ground level ozone. And the reduce, since we don't have it, the measures that we have made with universities is that we will reduce it with 40% if you use alcohol instead of normal petrol. Go behind the land or whatever. Technical benefits for the end user. Can be stored for many years. When you should, in the, how should I say, the formula to call a product gasoline, it has to conduct some barriers. Here you have a barrier of the normal gasoline, I think, of 280 minutes if you have a test where you exceeded with heat and pressure. And Europe, for an EN228 is the base 90 as you said, octane. It could take 360 minutes in that test. Alcohol, the test as we did, when we passed 11,000 minutes, we'd say stop the engine, the machine and the measurement, because it was quite expensive. So we have an enormous long storage time. I don't know how long you say up here, but normally when people ask us, what I say normally, even with oil if they ask in this plastic can, how long storage time do you say, by the way?
5 years.
Say 5 years, okay? It's like an ocean. Anything better than 5 years? First? 5? Okay. Anything else?
The best I have heard is 18.
18 years?
10 years.
That was the best.
You have
I
this
heard.
one. Actually, why do you think we say 5 years? Is it according to the petrol, you think? Normally I say, when people ask me, 3 to 5 years. Depending on where you store it. The way you store it. You should have it in evil temperature. Healthiest is if it's a little bit dark, then you can store it for a long time. But still, I won't say more than 5 years. But it's not due to the petrol, it's due to the plastic. It's the same with helmets when you're, you know, not more than 5 years with them. That's the same. So that's why we don't say more than 5 years, 3 to 5 years. Even with, but we have, if you come to our factory, it's like going into a cellar of whiskey. We have samples. I mean, all of the cans that goes out has what we call a batch number. And we have samples in the plant that is 12, 15. I think the oldest one is 18 years that we have. And we bring them out now and then, and we have a jolly good time, and we smell them and we test them. And we see that the last time I looked upon one that was 15 years. After 15 years, it was not 2% of oil, it was 1.9% oil after 15 years. And oh, it's quite good quality of that. So I mean, the 5 years time is due to the plastic. It's good to know. But normally people, they could use it in 1, 2, 3 years. That's average.
What makes the plastic, what changes in the plastic?
It gets stiffer, most part. And it's the same if you wear a helmet in the forest. And today, a lot of the, what you call them, guys that works in the X-Mans, what you call them, the modern helmet has an ER indicator that tells how much sunlight you had to the helmet, because that is breaking it down and making it harder and harder and harder. So that is one.
So why are you using a plastic that will last 5 years? Why plastic? Is there like metal or something else you can use where you could say it's good for 10 years?
The main thing is that it's actually an environmental question. Because what we have, we use a plastic that you shouldn't ship it in return, because that is not environmental friendly. When you send it out, it's a dangerous goods, but when it goes back, it's explosive goods, because then it's gas, it's a bomb. So just, and we have a recycling system for this. And they cut them down and recycle it again. Because if we had to ship it back to the factory, then we have to wash it with strong washing metal, and we have double transport of it. So that's not environmental friendly. But this type of plastic is.
One of the hurdles that I have come across, we were told like it'd be good for fire departments, but fire departments have come back to me and said, it's plastic, not a chance, because of melting. So they said because of the plastic, they'd rather have metal, even though metal can melt too, but it's higher. They were saying that a couple fire departments said they don't want to use it because it's in a plastic can, not metal.
And I would say if you're that close to the fire with a can with gasoline, you have a bigger problem that it's plastic, not.
No, we all understand,
Yeah,
but the safety aspect
yeah.
for them, it's too late. If you're too close, it's too late anyway.
I mean, we have one of the biggest clients that we have in Europe is fire departments, and they liked it due to the fact that normally they have it on board on the cars or whatever. So. And it's easy to get rid of. If you put it into the fire, it will burn very easily, and then it will only create steam and water. So you don't get any hazards, smoke from them if you burn them.
Glenn, we probably need some more specifics from exactly what they want, right? So that we can pursue it and see what we have to do to meet the requirements.
It's simple. They're saying that if they get to a fire and the plastic gets anywhere close, it'll melt, and now you have fuel leaking near a fire. So it's a safety hazard that they've told me they can't bypass.
Yeah,
They
so-
can't use it. They can't use it because it's in plastic.
Yeah, so all I'm saying is we need to get somebody to give us that in an email in writing so that we can pursue it. Because you're not the first one that said that. I mean, but we're not going to overcome it if we don't address it, right? So we need something from somebody that we can actually contact and say, okay, let's talk through this and see what we need to do.
Maybe they could talk with the fire departments in Sweden, for instance.
Well, it's a law.
It's, the one thing that we've had, and that is to do, and that came back to the warehousing, came back to everything, was nothing bigger than a 5-liter jug. They actually wanted 4-liter, nothing bigger than 4-liter in plastic because of the melt properties that Glenn's talking about. They consider it a hazard in storage and in usage because it is the volume of fuel melting down, creating that big flame front. we addressed it in one little fact, Glenn, there's something new coming that you're not aware of. We've now got a 20-liter metal.
Okay.
I'm gonna have it next week in Saskatchewan. That's gonna help you with some of that stuff already, so you've got a smaller packaging in metal. So, that's gonna help, and it's an Ontario thing. This is a Canadian fire code that is being interpreted in Ontario and enforced in Ontario. In Saskatchewan, Alberta, BC.
No issues in Alberta.
We have no issues in Western Canada. It is-
Actually, in Alberta, the fire departments prefer the
Yeah.
plastic, because if it gets close to a fire, yes, it'll melt, yes, you have some fuel out there. If that metal can gets close to a fire, it pressurizes and it becomes a bomb.
Yeah,
But it's an interpretation of the
Of the
same
law,
code.
yeah.
Remember,
We need-
whenever you turn around, guys, you always have something. So it is like that. Whenever you do, if you've sold something, you can go after another. But okay, that's a fire department issue. Take care of it. Technical benefits for alkylate for the end user. Burns cleaner. If you look inside an engine that I used Aspen for a long time, it is phenomenal. Actually, it is. Easy to start, yeah, due to the fact that it burns cleaner. The plugs are cleaner. And that is one of the things that makes it. And it's also stable when we have the storage. That's one of the things that it's easier to start. Other thing, more gentle to plastic, rubber, no alcohol. Less risk of high speed, and it due to the fact that we have that other octane number, the MON, motor octane number. Okay, and that is very good to have a high MON if you have a two-stroke, and because they always have a higher round term, or what do you call it?
RPM.
RPM, round per minute. Vapor locking, less due to the fact. Environmental benefits of this thing is low in olefins. We also make less smog. By the way, this is extra. Do anybody know what the word smog comes from, by the way? Have you heard it, smog?
Yeah.
You know where it comes from?
Gas machine.
No, actually it's
The
from
gas.
England. London, in the last decade, where it was smoke and fog. They smoked coal, and it was very foggy, and you got that really yellow mist. So that was smog. And you say Aspen 2 contains biodegradable oil based on renewable contents. You know what it takes to become, to call an oil biodegradable? Okay. To have that standard, you should, in a period of time of 28 days, have been degraded down 60%, have started to and that is, how should I, you have to be better than that to call themselves biodegradable. And go to know the oil that we use, after 28 days, we're over 80% has been taken care of microorganisms, and also it's renewable. 6% of it is made of renewable contents. So it's even that better for the environmental thing. But if we look upon the difference, as we said, what is the difference between petrol and petrol? You have the anti-knock index. That is when you put RON and MON together and divide it by 2. You have that one. I don't know actually why. Because for us it's more important what type of engine do you have? What type of petrol should you need? I mean, if you have a high turbocharger, then it's more important that you have a high RON. But if you have a two-stroke that has 15,000 RPM, it's better that you have a high MON. It's a very old measurement, and sometimes I compare them with what it is. It's like when you compare Fahrenheit and Celsius, two things that measures temperature. The sign here is anti-knocking, and then it comes from a technique from the early 1912 or something. You have an engine on the table, and what they call low-speed knocking. That is RON, research octane number. It's measured with 600 RPM. That is low knocking. And high knocking, could anybody guess the RPMs at that? 900. Yeah, that was the engine type that you had in the beginning of the 90s. But still, the measurement is correct. So you can adapt it to high today also. But it's over cost, 600 for the low and 900 for the high. But that is what we use. And as you can see, in Aspen we have 95, 92, which make knock index of 93.5. I think I calculated a little bit happy that. And if you compare that one, and it is the resistance of self-explosion. That is what it is. Know that sound in low RPMs and in high RPMs. And this is the oxidation stability. That is what you measure to get 240. Sorry, I said 200. The normal petrol you have here in Canada should have more than 240 minutes. We are up to 11,340. So there you can see that's due to the ability to store it. I said the guy with the red hat, the blue shirt. But I mean, hey guys, the main thing that I would like you to understand that this is not holy water from the Vatican City. It's petrol, but if you compare to one of the places in this area that have very high demands on petrol is California, the regulation in California. And they have said that you should have low in benzene, olefin aromatics, and sulfur. And if you compare that one, normal petrol with Aspen, then you can say we're extremely low in all of them. That is the main thing. I mean, this is not rocket science. The small engine, I mean, the big mincemeat petrol is made for engines that has high technique. Microprocessors, catalyzers, and things that brings it up. The small engine has no technique at all, more or less. They work with what we call CSU, shit in, shit out. So if you put in a shitty petrol, you have a shitty exhaust. As simple as that. So what we do, we have a high technical petrol to make the exhaust less harm. But please don't bring it in the chamber and sleep it and turn it on. It will make you damage. But the least harmful petrol that we know. Okay? That is the main thing about it. And what we have done is that we have made them in two colors, and we have tried to make a line in this one. Those stickers is that this is a good thing to use when they are selling machine. That from the start, put them on. So people, okay, I have a red sticker, red petrol, blue sticker. Saying the can is red and blue. Use that one. That's good. And the difference, I think you all know it, but this is what it is. Ready mixed, fully synthetic oil for two-stroke gasoline.
One thing I've heard a few of my dealers ask, they're selling both Aspen 2 and Aspen 4.
Yeah.
They'd like to know if there's anything you can do with the coloring of the Aspen 2 fuel to make it a little darker, a little more. When they open up a chainsaw and they look, it's hard for them sometimes to see it's Aspen 2 or Aspen 4.
Yeah.
Because they're very similar. There's not a lot of color to the Aspen 2 fuel.
Let me come back to that.
Oh, okay. Okay.
Would you all hear what I'm gonna say?
Yes.
Good. I will come back to that one then. But because it is like that. The blue is exactly the same petrol without oil. And you can use it in most 4-stroke engines. The technique about it is quite simple. A cleaner engine with a higher MOM will have it to burn clean it. The engine will last longer. It's not more dangerous. If you look upon pistons that you bring out, you look upon spark plugs after a while, they look like that. And this is a test that we do. I do have some plates, I don't know if we can use it, but I do have some things with me here. That sometimes when I'm out doing like this, I take 2 white plates, bought from IKEA, not that you don't give it in a heritage, it's quite simple, good quality. But you pour petrol on them, and you set fire to them. And then you do two things. You look upon the smoke, how it looks when it burns, and afterward you look upon the plates, and they look like that. Quite common. And if you have a tray, we can be somewhere and there's no window, because you should have it outside so it's stable, because if it's strong winds, everything will blow on one side and then you don't see it. But it's good to know that this is a quite simple way sometimes to show people the difference between petrol and petrol. Okay? We talked earlier about, and some of you saw it, I think I will come back to that later on. Ethanol causes problem. Ethanol is very good. I don't know, here in Canada you are about 10%, isn't it? In Europe we are between, in Sweden we had 5, and the most Finland and Germany and Italy had 10. I know that in United States they would like to increase it, and the highest number I now heard is 25% that they would like. And of course, I mean, it took 300 million years to create crude oil, and we burn it up in 300 years. I mean, you don't have to, as the name Einstein, to understand that that is not the smartest idea. There are missing some zeros in that equation. So if you could add in alcohol where you have a life cycle of 2 years, 3 years, you let something grow up and you cut it down and you make alcohol out of it. Of course, you can put that in, but it has big problems with the technique. With the higher, bigger engines, the technique is not that big, but with small engines, it costs a lot of technique. So, we don't have it, and it makes our extremely long life. And also separation. If you have ethanol, it has some problem to go into oil and make it. It can separate if you have high alcohol. Alcohol is very good if you have natural oils from seas or whatever. Then you have to have, because they are not mixed with petrol, gasoline. Then they have to have liquid. But over time. Summary of the benefits for end users. It's virtually free from benzene and has a low aromatics, olefins. Easy to start, pre-mixed, clean burning, longer. A lot of the guys, we talked yesterday, if I have a snowblower and I'm living in Vancouver, I don't use it a lot. One every 3 years, I go out and blow some snow, and then it stays for 2 years. Of course, in that type of machine, it's good to have this type of petrol. Fire department is the same. They have a lot of machines. I can say one of the best showrooms in Sweden is to go into a fire station, because they have it on the cutters and on the fans, on the generators, on the boats, on the pumps, whatever. They use it. How we sell it? And I'm not here to tell you we do like this and that, but this is an idea of a thing that maybe you can adapt some of. I said it before, it's not rocket science. We talked about the concept 3S. Science on display. Show the people that you have this product. I mean, if you don't show it, how should they know that, oh, that's petrol? Tell the dealers, show that you have the petrol. Use the stickers on the machines. And hand away samples. How many of you here has a lawnmower that you walk behind? Hands up. Okay. How many of you use normal gasoline in that one? Hands up.
Mine's electric.
So the battery.
Battery. But, I mean, one of the things that I would like tell the dealers that they hand out petrol to the guys in the store so they can have it. Because normally when you're giving a message away today, all the good spokesman knows that a message is divided in 3 parts: 10, 30%, and 60%. 10% is what you say. 30% is how you sounded when you said it, and 60% is how you looked when you said it. Do you think that's true? Do body language get you away? I mean, I would like to tell you that you are the nicest bunch of guys that I have met in a long period of time. And it's very funny to be here. What did you see? Yeah. Body language, a finger in the air. So if you come into a store and somebody asks, is this a good petrol? Yeah, it is, I think. I mean, what does he say? He says it's good. But what does he sound? And how did he look? I mean, think of it. Actually, think of it. No matter what. I know you're good guys, I like you. I mean, the sound of what? Oh, you're tricky ones, I'm gonna hit you. I mean, all of that combined together is a message. So, use it. But those 3, sign, sticker, samples. Sign, sticker, sample. That is the basic of, when I go out and see dealers that are selling a lot, that is the secret formula. They do that. And they do nothing. They talk about it. They send away something like that. And in Europe, we have worked a lot with this type, always filled. Ask the client, do you have Aspen at home? Do it in a way that he feels, not that you are, I mean, a lot of people like to buy, but they don't like that you're selling to them. But if you ask them, by the way, and do you have petrol at home? If they ask in that, oh no, what about? And also combine it, if they come into a service, so that we can make a special offer. We include the petrol bar papa. That has been very successful. The benefit for it is the dealers, of course, incoming. It creates traffic in the store. I mean, how often do you buy a new lawnmower? Once in 10 years. But if you get a client to buy it, and in where I come from, when we measure it, the normal family around their house, they use 10 liters a year. That means that they twice a year could come in that store for a period of 10 years. That's 19 more visits to that store. And when oh shit, I would have some gloves, and yes, I would have to have. And it makes the door swing. Because if the door don't swing in the store, you don't have any business. If you're selling things often, I mean, it's like milk and bread for many, many, many of our deals today. The people comes in and say, I should only have the petrol. And they buy something. So, because there are some, we had a little bit when we talked yesterday, there are some that, oh, I like those good jobs in the spring when they come in and I pour out the petrol and I change the spark plug and I say $200 or whatever. But, I mean, I don't know about you guys, but I can go in and buy cheap stuff and I can buy very expensive stuff. And sometimes I'm disappointed if it's cheap or if it's expensive. But one thing that I'm totally always upset about and pissed off is when I feel tricked by the guys. If I don't trust them. If they say, cars, they stand for a long, long, long time. And if they have the normal petrol with alkali and solvents in, they're quite aggressive, plastic and rubber. So, I mean, a vintage car in Sweden, many of them are using Aspen.
Just to go on your classics and all that, the Calgary Vintage Motorcycle Association is huge on Aspen right now. We had some good talks here last year with some vintage guys. If you guys know of any of those kind of associations, they're huge potential. A lot of these classic bikes have tank liners in them.
Yeah.
and regular fuel just eats the tank liner
Yeah.
horribly
And the same is,
in Aspen Motor.
you have a lot of nice lakes, and I think that the people are very keen about having a good fishing water, should not pollute.
Yeah.
If you pour in 1 liter of normal petrol, no matter how much it pollutes, if we should put in the same amount to pollute the same amount, we are talking hundreds of liters of acid.
Have any studies on, like a lot of lakes don't allow motors,
Yeah.
gas motors? Would that change if they used Aspen 2-cycle with the exhaust or not?
Normal gasoline has a dead fish and a tree. We don't. We don't have to.
No, I'm wondering, has anybody in Canada, anybody looked at that? At the exhaust of an outboard using Aspen versus regular, would a non-gas lake allow them again?
You're talking a non-gas leak or a non-two-stroke leak, but
Probably both, because aren't they the same? Like, I don't know about where you, like in Ontario,
No.
they just say in Ontario, you're not allowed gas outboards.
Okay, so
They don't
we-
say for a 2-stroke.
yeah, so we have a lot of non-two-stroke,
Yeah.
but we're very pro four-stroke.
Right, because that makes sense
But the
because of
funny
the
is that
exhaust.
when we make, and we have the sea and water authorities in Sweden, the last time I was on a fair with them, they say, don't change your engine, change your fuel, use alkali. And due to the fact that we tested that they had, they measured an old two-stroke, whatever name on it, with a modern four-stroke with old type of petrol. It was cleaner in the water with the old two-stroke with alkali than with a four-stroke with normal petrol.
Yeah, that's why I was asking. I was thinking it was something to look
It
into.
is like that. And that, one of the things is that if you look upon normal petrol, they have to add on that they are, they don't have that. But if you look upon it,
Those are all specifically small engine fuels.
yeah, they
so
don't
may
have
not
to.
that on there.
But normally if you go to, you will see it later on, by the way. But this is also machines that you can use it on. But actually, we use it on this too. I'm in charge of motorsports in Aspen. We have a serial Swedish standard STCC, that is Swedish standard car racing. The only petrol that is allowed there is Aspen. So when we go out there, we have a container, we goes out and all the teams have to buy from us. And they say we make the sport cleaner. And they mean two ways. One of the ways is that it is a little bit less shit that comes out, but that's not the main thing for them. Actually, it is that our petrol is measurable. They can compare so nobody cheats. So we are also in charge of the measuring of the petrol. So they come up after every race, we have 3 cars there, number 2, 3, and number 5. Take samples of that into us and we test it. And we had some years ago, actually 7 years ago, the Formula 1 of out sea racing comes, they normally around Abu Dhabi and down there, but they were up in Scandinavia, and Oslo Fjord, and also outside Gothenburg. And that was a Norwegian team, and they made a world record driving on Aspen. So, yeah. But you can use it, I mean, for various types. And still, from the mid of the 80s, all Volvo that goes on export are factory filled with alcohol. And Saab did the same. Because they didn't know, when they're selling cars to Europe, it's tailor-made. They built the car that you have signed in for at the dealer. But when they export to the United States, Canada, and Far East, they sell it in stock. 300 red, 300 blues, whatever. But nobody liked to do that here, so they were standing there for a long time. To avoid the petrol problem, they are filled with alcohol from the factories. Nice to know.
So who's gonna call on Ford and Toyota over here?
Yeah.
Webster,
Okay. The new kid on the block.
they haven't been told yet.
Diesel?
Yeah, they don't know about it.
They don't know about it.
Okay, guys. Will you hear a secret?
Yes.
Yeah.
Ray, there's a new kid on the block. By the way,
My Jetta is looking for samples, so if you have anything, send them by.
This is what we are now releasing here in Canada. We have used it for a while over on our part. And we are going into the same type of arguments that we are using with petrol. Less hazardous, storage stable, longer than average. And renewable contents, 90% of them.
Could have saved Volkswagen with this.
Sorry?
You could have saved Volkswagen with this. No?
Yeah. I don't think so. That was a clever guy that made that one. It's made to normally works in uses. Small machines. That type. Especially.
I have a question for you.
Yes.
You have hot water washers up there.
Yep.
How are the emissions off of it in a building? Is it similar to diesel running kerosene?
A little bit better, but
Better.
but that's not the biggest.
Right.
We have reduced, but there are other. If you compare it to what they say here with, we have the hazards on Aspen D, but this is the Canadian diesel. It's hazardous, it's harmful, and environmental hazard. That was the sign I talked about before, by the way, the fish and the tree. We don't have them either.
Okay. No, the only reason I ask is in Alberta anyway, I've run into quite a few instances where hot water pressure washers were used in buildings for cleanup and all that. And they have to run kerosene because it's cleaner than diesel.
Yeah.
So,
But
but
they have a
there's
spectacle.
issues with running kerosene in a diesel with lubricity and stuff like that.
So is it the blaster that you're firing or the
Both.
engine?
Both.
So where do more emissions come from? Do they come from the furnace or do they come from the engine?
They come, well, the furnace, they can run off kerosene, period. They usually run off kerosene, period. The engine's the problem with soot and everything else.
So the emissions
So-
from the kerosene, from the furnace are not?
No, kerosene burns much cleaner than diesel does. So they want to run kerosene in both, but if this is cleaner than kerosene, they can run this in both and they'd be fine with it. Go ahead, sorry.
No, but as you can see, it fulfills the Canadian regulation, and it goes to the American standards for diesel, the Japanese ones. And we have tested it now, and they say, okay, it works. So, and it's better. I've been in rooms where I use it.
Yeah.
But I'm sometimes it's very easy for people to try to oversell this product and think it's not harmful. This is harmful, but it's less harmful. That is the main goal about it. Use it in. I mean, there was one guy that did. Actually, he died. He was a driver for one of our trucks that was stuck in a snowstorm, and he started a little fire inside the cabin to heat, to get it warm. Sorry to say, he died. But that was not the petrol's problem, because he used all the oxygen to burn it. But he thought that, oh, it's so clean, I can use butter. I mean, hey guys, don't have an argument like that. But I know that there are guys that have been on the North Pole that bought this one to use in the kitchen instead of to fire up and melt the snow to get water. But not inside it, and on the outside. I mean, it's still a petrol product.
Well, just to give you an idea how widespread it is, now most of the generators you're gonna see roll out of Briggs and Stratton in the next few years are gonna have carbon monoxide detectors on them that will shut off if the levels get too high.
Yeah.
So people still don't get it.
No,
They're running it inside their garage because they don't want it to get stolen or frozen up and,
I've had plenty of people ask me at trade shows about this, being cleaner. You tell them it's cleaner and all that, and they say, "Oh, can I run it in my garage?" I tell them no. It still has carbon monoxide. It's still going to kill you. You'll just die without a headache.
Yeah.
That's what I
We
tell
tell
them.
them, you're still gonna die, you just won't have all those bad effects before.
no, yeah, no.
you leave a pretty corpse.
Yeah.
It won't be all twisted.
This is, I won't send it around because this is European material, but this is service bulletin from Briggs and Stratton say that we don't see any problem using alkalox. this is the same from Honda Europe. Don't use more than 10% of ethanol, but we don't see any problems. I have it in French also for the guys that would like to have it in French, but it's European Honda that says it. And I mean, these are the two main factors. One makes 12 million engines, and one makes 6 million engines, I think, every year. And there are several other dealers that said, hey guys, Alcalá is a very good alternative to run your engines with. There was a discussion in United, that's why I'm so curious about it. Because Briggs & Stratton had some 2-stroke guarantee, whatever, they have, if you pull it, 2 pulls
That's the
guarantee.
R-Tech engine, yeah, guaranteed to start.
Yeah, and then when it was cold and they know that Alcalá was made out of, well, not having that high pressure, so they said, oh, we can have it, and had a discussion about that. But I would like to show you some difference between, just to show.
Can I go back to one thing, Sonny, one question?
Yes,
Back to the diesel.
Okay.
The diesel fuel, I only have one concern for Canada, and that's why they weren't aware of it at this point yet, is the cloud point and gel points.
Yeah.
Due to our climate,
Yeah.
and due to some of the applications that are very, very important to us using diesel and
Yeah.
the cloud point of this fuel right now, I think, is advertised at -26. It has a reality of -33. Am I correct on that?
I will not give you that answer because if I do, I have to kill you afterward. No, it is like that.
We're dealing with the theoretical about -30 cloud point.
We are dealing about a country that has 5 types of diesel and 8 temperature zones of diesel.
Correct.
So I said it before, I said it yesterday, let's start to pick the lowest hanging fruits.
Yes.
And for the moment, we are having a,
My unfortunate problem is,
yeah,
my lowest hanging fruit is at -50.
okay. Then I will not say that this is the main product in your line.
Yeah.
Because it is the same with if
It's the thing too that I also want to caution these guys in regards to who they're selling to,
Yeah.
and with the diesel fuel especially, because I pick on one customer that they are servicing right now that's got a main office in Hamilton, Ontario. That is well within the -30. That customer is going to want this diesel fuel. I know he's going to want it. We have not told him about it, because the first place that diesel fuel is going to go is on a truck to North Bay, Ontario. That is not in -30 territory. So we gotta be very careful with stuff like that so that we don't tarnish an image of a product before we're ready. And that's my only cautionary item. I love the product. I think the diesel's probably cutting edge from what we're gonna see, and so good for a lot of industry with heaters and frost fighters and Herman Nelsons. Yellowknife Northwest Territories wants it, but -30 will not work in Yellowknife. You know, so this is my only struggle with the diesel.
yeah.
Diesel, natural gas, diesel, propane. So
Yeah, no, I'm with you. Yellowknife right now has a request that they want -50. They only bring in -50 or P50 diesel fuel year round. They take nothing less than -50 in July. So they don't have others.
We won't be the guys that deliver in the first.
No, we will not be the first batch up there. We just won't be. But-
And it is like that. Because it's very big, I have the same problems when I'm out with the mountain rescuers in Sweden. The guys snowmobile bikes.
Yep.
And the normal temperature for our petrol is somewhere around -20. And that's mostly not a big problem, because they are based in a garage from the start.
Yep.
But if they have to be out all night and has to sleep over out on the mountain, and it goes down to 30 or 40 degrees, and then you have sticky oil in the engine, low performance battery, and then you have a low performance of making gas from the petrol. That's not a good combination. So that's why. But if you use it in a sensible way, I mean, a lot of the time they are riding very, very many hours on those snowmobiles, so they like to use our petrol. And one of the worst places you can be in life, if ever you get hurt and lying out there, and you will get rescued by a two-stroke older snowmobiles, and you're lying in a small tent in a, what do you call it, pulka? What do you call it here? A sledge? With a, like a prairie wagon tent over, and every exhaust goes into that place. It's not a good place to be. But then again, take the lowest hanging fruits. We have a petrol that will be storable for a longer time, and we said about typical is 33, but we don't guarantee more than 26, because that is what the standard says. And it could be above that also, but that's nothing, something like, because it's better to be safe. We work in that way in our company. We are not trying to oversell and do it in a way that we because then again, the clients would be not only pissed on us that maybe they are dead because they didn't come away from that part of the country where they were working. So use common sense.
Am I correct that we might be going to a lower temperature point on that diesel fuel in 2017?
If I know that answer, I will have a winning lottery tomorrow.
I thought I was getting killed for the second time.
Probably, but you look upon my face, I love you, I think you're good. That is right.
Sonny, how much you guys pay for a liter of gasoline in Sweden?
That is something that is very strange to, because I've been working, I'm working in various countries, and the biggest difference is the taxes. So it's due to tax. We have very difference between Sweden or I mean we are a little duck pound of the middle of the and it varies a lot due to the price.
So roughly, all in, taxes in.
At the pump price.
We don't. That's also something. We don't sell it at that type of pumps. There are various. I think there are somewhere around 25 Swedish crowns, and I don't know the crown rate to Canadian dollar.
That's for Aspen or for?
Not for Aspen.
Regular, what's regular pump gas, like that?
That is 10 crowns less. Or the double. We have normally double the price. Because the cost to make it.
That's retail, Aspen retail price versus fuel retail price?
Double the price.
Okay.
All over.
What are we, 4 times?
Yeah,
Three
we're
times.
about five, we're
I
about
can
5
imagine.
times.
We're about 4 or
But
5
then the government in Sweden are deducting a lot.
Yeah, we don't do that.
No.
They take more.
Yeah, of course, it is like that. But
Our
we,
tax is very high on our fuel too, so.
yeah,
Yeah.
but
Not like theirs.
we're having a lower tax on our petrol and things like that. By the way, I have those what do you call them data. What do you call them?
79 cents a liter.
Yeah. Difference between Aspen and normal gasoline. If you would like to look on the security light, we call that what is SD,
MSDS.
Oh,
MSDS
yeah.
lights.
Actually, SDS.
SDS, I think. I wrote.
Safety data sheet, that's what it's changed to.
But then again, the difference between petrol and petrol. I don't know if you saw that in the presentation we changed and sometimes we showed the cans with this type of filler. Have you seen that?
Yep,
Do you use it?
yep.
Okay.
It's awesome.
Yeah, I must say I like it. It's our Dutch friends
How
who
much
made
is
it.
that? Did you figure out?
That we sell it for I think 20 something dollars.
And we sell the other one for 9.
Yeah, but the other one isn't a stop fill like
No, I know
that.
that.
It's just a regular spout.
Our $27 is probably a little high.
It's a little high. It's
So
expensive.
we need to figure that out and get
Yeah.
it down.
Because everybody asked. Remember I
Yeah,
emailed
yeah,
you?
no, that's why I'm asking, yeah.
I put it on my Aspen that I'm using in the Snow Dog, and every time I use it, dealers ask me where I get it.
It
Where'd
only
you get
fits
that
the
spout?
Aspen- It only fits the Aspen can. right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
We need to